Hello and good morning, Jefferson. Welcome back to another episode of J-Pod, Jefferson School District's very own podcast. I'm your host, Lieutenant Brad Caper, and I'm joined by my co-host this morning, Chris Shaw. Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing very well this morning.
Good. It's another Friday, and that means we've got a weekend coming up. What do you have any plans for the weekend?
So I'm actually going to a technology conference, and so I'm going to learn the ins and outs of what's the latest and greatest in education and technology.
Awesome. And so the listeners understand, Chris is our tech director. So going to the conference is great for Jefferson because it brings back ideas and innovation. And so thank you for going.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always surprised at just some of the turns and twists that technology takes for education and where it goes. So.
That's good. Well, so I am really excited this morning because our show this morning, we are interviewing our Parent Teacher Club PTC President, Brooke Mendez, is joining us this morning. Good morning, Brooke. Ms. Mendez, how are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
Good. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah. As you know, the goal of our podcast is to try to bridge what's going on in the schools to our community. So our community can have a really more in-depth look as to who we are and what goes on in our schools, right? Mm-hmm. So having you here is just a really, when they said, hey, let's bring in what about our PTC? I was like, absolutely, right? We have to. What a great idea to bring you in here because you guys play such a pivotal role in our schools. So anyway, thanks for being here. And let's get into and start talking a little bit about, your role as PTC president in 2 schools.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Good for you. But for the listener, let's just, lay out the foundation a little bit and talk about what is the PTC exactly?
Yeah, that's a great question. PTC, Parent Teacher Committee or Parent Teacher Club. Right now it is running both at the elementary and middle school. And it's a way to be able to help out the school with classroom supplies, teacher needs, field trip funding, other requests that hopefully come our way that we can help bridge financially to be able to give more back to the schools. That's the biggest thing.
Great. That's really cool. So can you tell us a little bit about what are some of the ways that you guys have been helping the schools in that way?
I'm really curious, what are some of the most proud things that y'all have done?
I'll start with the elementary side since I'm juggling both.
Yeah.
But so far for the past year, we have tried to do some more PR. So setting up booths like at back to school night, at open house at the elementary school, or selling shirts. And
now, when you say PR, are we talking about? Are you trying to recruit folks into the Parent Teacher Club, or are you trying to promote or get donations or people buying, supporting things? What's the PR for?
All the above.
All the above.
We really would love more support, more help, volunteering. If it's just one event here and there, coming to a meeting, doesn't have to be all the time. I understand it's a time commitment for people, but just coming out and helping out. We've had trunk or treats. We had a lot of volunteers with that. We're always looking for people to be able to donate towards the spring carnival that we'll be having. So we do raffle prizes, or we love to do more, drawings of winning prizes would be awesome, or just helping businesses to be able to do some PR for them as well.
Oh, right. Because what helps our schools also helps our businesses and helps Jefferson all around.
Yeah.
Lots of synergy there.
Yeah. That's really great to hear. So you guys would be out, if the community is doing something like they did a Heroes Day or whatever, would the PTC be a part of that as well, maybe, or have a booth? Or
I think that's a good idea. We haven't yet. We've only done it in August when we did I think it was the back to school night here.
Right,
yeah.
Right, yeah.
When we had to move it inside to the middle school. So we were able to set up a booth there just to connect with parents and families. To be like, hey, we're out here. We're trying. I know it's not always been active, the parent teacher club. And so we're, especially on the middle school side, we're really trying to bring that back. And with just different events that we're trying to do or have done.
Now, with yourself, I've just noticed since you've been the president of both, you bring such energy. And, I keep hearing about, all the great things that you're involved in and just the spirit and the energy you're bringing into it. So that's really great. But what led you to wanting to do this? If you don't mind me asking.
Oh, yeah. I've always wanted to be involved with the kids at school. I have 2 boys. One's in middle school, one's in elementary. I showed up to a meeting years ago, and then one of those just kind of kept forgetting about it. And then the unfortunateness happened where no PTC meeting was happening, and then finally got involved. And I really love volunteering and fundraising and event planning.
There you go.
Big party planner. So this is kind of that in for me to all right, well, I'll come up with the idea and try it out and hope to get people involved. And so and then when I was working at this elementary school, it really helped boost that event planning and connecting with parents and families and kids, really seeing the kids' faces when we do these events like the trunk or treat, or when we finally brought back the spring carnival at the elementary school.
Yes. And those are things that are usually well attended. People really love those kinds of events because that's what makes school special, right? It's the carnivals that everybody remembers those.
Yeah.
Growing up. And so those are really neat events to happen. But it was also during COVID, I think one of the saddest parts for me at least, was having to stop all of those extra things. Right. So I would imagine that PTC kind of took a hit in terms because there wasn't anything to do as much during COVID. So coming back from that, how have you been building that back? Because you've been doing a nice job with that. But talk about some of your efforts in trying to build that team.
Yeah, so a few years ago when it started to kind of come back, the past president, they did some nice things where they set up in-house like pumpkin patch instead of kids going out. Right. So then we were able to help put together goodie bags and donate apple cider. So that was kind of the start of it. And then it kind of led into maybe like providing meals for the teachers because we like to provide meals during their conference time. So we do that at the middle school as well. And then it just kind of started evolving with more people being involved. Tried to do a spring carnival, but that didn't work out with enough volunteers. And then finally the following year, I think once things lifted, we really were like, okay, we're going to do the carnival. That was our big goal. And then we did trunk or treat for the first time. I said, let's bring that. I love bringing in free events when we can or low cost. And we have something for everyone, basically. Like tonight we're going to have Chuck E. Cheese. And that may not be for everyone, but a little something to try. If everyone's partnering with restaurants, why not?
Exactly, right? I mean, the idea of always trying something and trying something new, because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you'll have like very low, attendance, but other times you're going to hit a gold mine of because everyone loves, the idea. How did the trunk or treat go?
It went really well. I think we had over 150 people, and last year we had 12 cars sign up, and then this year I think we were 16 or 17.
Yeah.
So it was growing. And
we usually try to get around and take pictures, and I'm always surprised at just how large it is.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I've seen this is a great community in terms of supporting our schools. I mean, when you go and when we have an event, it's really well attended typically. And so our back to school night this day, I guess it was, this year, we had hundreds of people show up, and it was in the rain, and we had to move it from outside to inside. I was worried beforehand that nobody was going to show up, and it just blew me away with how many. Last year we did we worked with our Latinx parent club, and we did a Day of a Child event, and it was at the elementary school, and we brought in over 300 people to that event. And that was the first time we tried it, right?
Yeah.
But we have this community that just I think is hungry for school activities and being part of that. And so, if folks are listening out there that want to volunteer and be a part of something that's really exciting, then what should they do? Like, how do they get a hold of you? And how do they? Should they call the school, or should they call you, or how does it happen?
That's a good question. I think calling the school is great because they can give you the email that we use. We have 2 emails, one for the middle school, JMSPTC at jefferson.k12.or.us. And then for the elementary side is jes.ptc at jefferson.k12.or.us. That's the best way to reach out. I took the emails often, asking the front desk. Usually somebody will get a hold of me.
Yeah.
Hey, Brooke, somebody wants to reach out. Great. Got another victim. I mean, a volunteer, No. I was looking for help.
Yeah. That's great. So if a parent wanted just to do one thing, but they didn't really have the time to invest in being like an all the time, like, so they're a little hesitant because they don't want to just say, their time is very limited. Can they just do one event?
Oh, that'd be lovely.
Okay.
Yeah, one event here and there, because if everyone can just give that one time, then we'll have multiple people helping with a variety of things. Like at the middle school, we were able to do a free games night. We called it Reindeer Games, and just set up a bunch of games. And we had, I think, at least 9 parent volunteers come up, and a lot of kids in the National Honor Society willing to volunteer and run games. So that was fun. And any little help, even if it's just cutting up Valentine grams, which is coming up. So if you just want to sit and cut things with me, or I mean, it's all different kinds of help, coming to a meeting, sharing an idea, just even when people reached out for trunk or treat, just to have their car there. They may have not been involved in other things, but for that night, that's wonderful. Whatever people can give.
Good. Okay.
And I think that's good to know. So many times you're like, I want to volunteer, I want to help, but then you're afraid, I'm only can commit so much. And so you're like scared to ask, because then you don't want to get like pulled into something that you can't manage. And so hearing that, just being able to come to like one event makes a world of difference. Lots of times people are like, well, I can give one day of my life to do that, especially because my kid's already going to be participating or things like that. So I'll be there for them anyway. So I think that's really useful for the community to know.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, thank you. So, parents out there, if you have just, if you just want to do one thing, then we're looking for that. That's great. And we won't expect you to do another thing unless you want to. So,
but you'll be influenced by my energy, so maybe you'll come back.
That's great. So middle school, how does it look different? Like how is elementary different than middle school in terms of the parent teacher club?
The first thing that stands out is we do have a little bit more participants in the elementary side versus the middle school side.
Okay.
We had a good small handful last year when it got revived around, I think, February, March. Jancy was able to bring it back. And then I was asked if I wanted to lead it. And I said, well, sure. I tried offering it to others, but I think, again, that time commitment. So I was like, well, I'll give it a whirl. We'll see how it goes. But so there is a little bit less participants this year. And I think the timing is hard. It's 4:00, usually first or second Monday. And I know that doesn't fit for everyone. And that's what I always say, even if you can't come to a meeting, but you want to know what we talked about, I'm happy to email. I don't have a consistent newsletter. That's something that's probably in the works, but I just email highlights. And then usually I'm just emailing like, hey, we got this coming up and we want to meet up and help plan for this activity. And so that's the biggest difference, is the participants is trying to pull more people in on the middle school side. I feel like some things kind of maybe get overlooked, and so I'm really trying to revive that. Like,
what are some of the things how would middle school events differ from elementary? So if you do a trunk or treat, maybe at the elementary, what are some of the things that middle school is looking to do? Many things.
Well, one was really cool thing we did was a collab with the elementary side.
Okay.
So it was brought up on the elementary side, like we wanted to do what was called Witches Night Out, basically AKA dancing night, because we just wanted a break. And I'll see ladies. There was some brave men that showed up too, but some ladies, mostly just a dancing night. And we partnered with the middle school side, running ball. They said, why don't we do a collab? And I love that idea. I just wish we could do more of it. I have other ideas for that too, but so that was awesome. We were able to partner that. And so the Witches Night Out was kind of that collab with both, and not really trunk or treat side on the middle school side. So we did the games night in December.
Gotcha.
And,
okay.
And so similar, not quite carnival-esque, like how it would be at the spring carnival at the elementary side.
So how did Witches Night go? Was that because that's just adults? That was for the adults.
Yeah,
right?
so
like a
that
fundraiser.
Yes, that was the first time also for just adults too. That was not bad. We had quite a few people show up. I'd say maybe 25 to 30, and it was a good night to burn calories while eating desserts.
Yeah, that sounds really fun. I was just my wife is a teacher, and her school is doing a prom, but it's for adults.
Oh,
It's the adult prom, and it's like the same kind of thing. Though it's like a fundraiser, and so she wanted me to. She was, to be her prom date to go and sing. I was like, well, I don't know. I think I got an event in Jefferson to do that night, but.
For all those people who missed their high school prom, there's still other opportunities out there.
Yeah. So there's an idea for you. You guys could do a prom. An adult
I've seen
prom.
that. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Or dodgeball. That'd be kind of fun. I saw a thing came by my desk for dodgeball.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
I saw it and signed it. It's approved.
Oh, you signed it?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So there are several things I think that you were wanting to do. So
Yes, that is a big one for the middle school side, is because they are a newer building, so there hasn't been as much needs coming from the teachers. We were able to fund some supplies for a field trip last year, and this year there hasn't really been much request, but there has been a request for more basketball hoops to be attached to the gym.
Oh, okay.
And I would love to work towards a big goal too. Small goals are great too, and I love anything we could do, but a bigger price point. So I thought dodgeball. I talked to Jancy and Melissa Beeson, who's vice president, and we all thought maybe we can do that. Ran it by Mr. Campbell, and we're gonna try to go for it. And now that you signed off, I can take off running.
Good, yeah.
We can all get on it.
No, I love that.
So is that going to be adults playing dodgeball?
I'm hoping for 3 divisions: middle school against middle school, high school against high school, and then post high school. So adults, so we can have 3 divisions going on, and yeah, adults want to play.
I see you in that, Chris.
That's right. I'll be on the sidelines holding my knee, crying.
Maybe we could do a district office team.
District office team, yeah.
That would be awesome.
I've watched the movie Dodgeball probably way too many times.
Yeah. Except I think I would be a big target. I don't know. I think they would want to get me out first. So
Well, it can be a strategy because while everybody's focused on trying to hit you, then we can come in from the side.
oh,
and
good.
play.
Okay, we can turn this around. Okay, all right, good. I'll be the sacrificial lamb for the bigger win.
We just have to work on your dodging. You got to
yeah.
practice your dodge, duck, dive, dodge.
Yeah. Well, if I had enough time, I could definitely work on that. Give me a goal,
Okay.
a physical fitness goal. I could
There
do
you go.
how to dodge.
Yeah, we're hoping to have that event April 13th, and
Oh, good.
so I'll give you some time to practice. Maybe
Yes.
I'll bring in more spectators to watch.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah. Let's watch the Super get pelted by balls. That's good. I love it. Yeah, we'll have to film that one, right, Chris? Yeah.
There we go.
But see, you can't film it, Chris, because you have to be in the team. So
We
And so
will.
Becca.
We'll figure it out. I can train people.
Exactly. You're good at delegating. We'll figure out a way.
Brooke, is there before we're about out of time? Actually,
Okay.
is there anything that you would like to say to parents or anything else that we didn't get a chance to cover?
I know there is. It's on the top of my head. Sometimes it's hard to know where the money always goes from both of the PTCs, and we may not always have that direct goal. Sometimes we may say things to cover classroom, teacher supplies, school events, because it really does get dispersed into many different pockets. We've been able, just this year alone, to put over $1,700 back towards teachers' classroom needs. Sullivan's asked requests for things. We cover coffee and water for staff
That's
room
great.
needs to boost morale.
Mhm.
So it may not go directly back to the students, but it does affect them in a lot of different ways. Or we're able to put on more events. The same with the middle school side. I mean, now that we're going to work towards basketball, but I think there's going to be ways to fund more or help fund things for field trip needs, supplies, classroom supplies. Eventually they're going to need things. And so sometimes they're like, oh, I want to know exactly what it's going for. Well, we may not have an exact item per se, but it's going to go to many things. Right now, the elementary side, we fund all their field trips unless they find grants. Right now, we give each teacher $250 for their field trip funds. The future goal would love to bump it up to like maybe $300 per teacher. It'd be awesome. And maybe we could start doing it on the middle school side. I know they don't take as much field trips, but maybe we can bring in speakers, or there's really cool programs out there, anti-bullying, BMX things that I've looked into.
Yeah.
So there's lots of opportunities. And once we start bringing in money, it definitely does go back out in many different ways.
Great. Well, it really does take a village to raise kids. And this is a really, like I said, a very supportive community, and one that is loves their schools. And we really appreciate all of the work that you're doing in this and leading this. And we just, again, anybody who wants to give a little time, we welcome you, and come and be a part of our school system and help be part of the village. So thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yeah, thank you. We would love to have y'all.
All right. Chris, thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
All right. Bye.